Hi guys, it's Carissa and it is time for a Keto Bites video. What I did this past week or so is a little bit different than what I've done in the past. Instead of just trying to keep a mental list of the things that I want to talk about, I'm just going to talk about what I ate. Especially if it was something new or something that I made that I felt was good to have in the house or that I enjoyed. And if you like this format, I'll try and do it this way more often. I try to take pictures whenever I thought of it. There are some things that I just repeat. That's just kind of how we are. I think a lot of ketoers are like that. You find things that you like and that work, and then you eat them. And a lot of those things, they kind of come in and out of rotation for us. But I tried a lot of new stuff in the last week or so since I talked to you. And I feel like I've got a lot to say, so let me get to it. So one thing I told you guys about last time that I have continued to do quite a bit is I will bloom some chia seeds in water or some form of liquid of my choice in the refrigerator. I try and do it first thing in the morning when I'm making my coffee so that it's just ready when I want to eat it later, which is usually anywhere from an hour to several hours later. And I'll have the chia seeds ready in a bowl, and then what I'll do is I will add a Greek yogurt or full-fat cottage cheese, and sometimes if I'm feeling like it, if I want something a little bit sweeter, a little more flavor, I will add no sugar added jelly. It does not photograph well, but it is tasty. And if you miss fruit or if you want something fruity, that really does the trick, especially if you are a fan of strawberries and you use strawberry jelly and the chia seeds. It makes it feel very seedy and strawberry-like. I have been making cheese chips. I have seen this recently on many Instagram accounts, and for good reason. They taste just like Cheez-Its, at least what my memories of Cheez-Its are. And you can put salt on them, you can use any kind of cheese you want, but the Colby Jack, there's something perfect about that flavor to me. And it's not too sharp a cheese, and it crisps up nicely. And if you're patient enough, and if you have, if you can think ahead to when you think you'll want a snack, or if you want to make it earlier in the day and then snack on it throughout the day, they don't last very long, I'll tell you that much. But they're very good. I have this, oh guys, do you guys have the same problem I do where you want hard-boiled eggs so bad, so you boil some, and then once you have them boiled, you don't want them, and they just sit in your fridge forever? That's what I do. I'm on a constant cycle of boiling eggs and then just throwing them away. But lately what I've been doing is boiling them in small batches in my Instant Pot. It's a 15-minute process, start to finish, really easy. They cook perfectly. They shell even better. And they can be the freshest eggs possible. So I make 6 at a time. You can get that really nice, well-cooked consistency that I like, and just pop them in the fridge. Then whenever you want deviled eggs, which is basically the only way I'll eat them lately, or that's my preference, or if you want to make a quick egg salad, you just can take out 2 at a time or however many you need. But I'm finding that 6 is the magic number. If I make more than that, I'm just not gonna, I should just throw them away before I even begin. Now, I did try Suzanne's recipe from the Simply Keto cookbook for her hard-boiled eggs. They seemed real fancy, and I already had the eggs boiled, but I took one look at it and I was like, ugh, but I have to fry up some bacon to make them. Is it really worth it? It is. It's totally worth it. I adjusted the recipe slightly because I was using fewer eggs. Another thing, I've been making just like a small bowl of broccoli or green beans with butter and garlic powder on it, just as an afternoon snack. I think I had to try and get around the mindset that it always has to be a side to a main dish. We're having a little bit of a heat wave right now. It's almost 60 degrees today, but we're gonna have another snowstorm. And prior to this warm weather we've been having the last couple days, it has been really cold, below 0. You guys have watched the news, right? You guys know about weather. You heard about it? So it's been really cold, and there were a couple of nights where I just wanted something warm, but not soup, something that was kind of easier to eat than soup because, of a little one running around. So I'll take refried beans, which I know a lot of people won't eat on keto. But I think the Old El Paso brand, is that the one with the yellow label, has the lowest carbs that I've found so far, because the first ingredient is lard, and not actually beans. So check them, they're all different, and depending on how the ingredients stack up, you can find some that are lower in carbs. And what we do is take like a 1/4 cup, it's probably a little bit less, and line the bottom of an oven-safe dish, and then pile on some cheese on top and put it under the broiler until it's bubbly. You do have to microwave it first because the amount of time it spends under the broiler isn't long enough to warm the beans. So, pro tip, do that first. Microwave, cheese, pop it in under the broiler. Watch it really closely. And then I just eat it with a fork, and it's delicious, and you can judge me if you want, but I do that. I have been making some fat bombs or some like keto friendly candy. All you need, the easiest way to do it, and again, this is the kind of thing that you can tweak these things to your exact preferences or specifications. You can put stuff in the middle, you don't have to. You can, it's like anything goes. But I like to use silicone molds because they're the easiest to pop them out of. They come out looking nice, which doesn't matter that much, but still, it's a bonus. And if you don't like how fat bombs can get really melty by using coconut oil or butter or all of the above, you don't have to do that. If you want it to still have like that snap like a piece of chocolate does, I like to have them have a filling because it just feels fancier and it feels like more of a treat. So what I'll do is put the silicone mold on a baking sheet, pop that in the freezer while I'm melting my chocolates. I dice up really, really finely, like almost shredded with a knife, some raw cacao butter, which I buy on Amazon. And that is your fat right there, but it also is really, really solid and it's hard to melt. So I will melt that with some Lily's baking chips and stir it together. And there you go, you have fat bomb chocolate. Easy, and it's not super melty, and you don't have to keep it in the fridge, although I do. And then I'll pour a little bit of that into the molds and then roll them around so that it coats the bottom, stick it back in the freezer, and then you can put your filling in and then more of the chocolate. So you just sandwich in whatever. I think I've got a video up. If you search peanut butter fat bombs on YouTube and Carissa, you should find my video. It's not a good one, but it gives you more information there. And I made some cute little tiny Hello Kitty peanut butter cups that way. I just peanut butter in between the chocolate and a Hello Kitty silicone mold that I got on Amazon. And it's a good time. They look cute. Speaking of sweets, I did try Suzanne's brownies from the Simply Keto cookbook, and they were so good, even though I burned them. I burned them by accident, and they were still really good. And I also made her pancakes, which if you're like me, and okay, so I'm pretty sure she says to do it in a blender. And I don't know, maybe I'm just lazy, but that is as easy as that makes it sound. It also sounds like, well, then I gotta wash my blender. So I just use my immersion blender. You can put all the ingredients in the immersion blender cup and stick that in there, blend it up, and it's so easy. So much less cleaning, it feels like to me anyway, even though it's not that much less cleaning. And the pancakes were great, and Vera loved them, and I'm gonna make them all the time. I also tried the Keto Connect coconut flour cookies, which are made with a secret ingredient, which is gelatin. They use beef gelatin. I just used unflavored gelatin that I had around for other recipes, and it makes them chewy and delightful. And I used to not really like coconut flour, but it really grew on me with that particular recipe. The more popular this diet becomes, the more forums and groups there are that you could join and talk to people. Boy, people really enjoy being food police and being jerks and being like, that's not keto and blah, blah, blah. Oh, I hate it so much. I do want word to spread. I want the diet to get out there. And obviously there are better versions of this diet than, that's why I think some of these like keto people, you know, that are around these days don't acknowledge me because they don't like my philosophy on it, where it's like, well, if you really feel like you need to have a cheat meal, go ahead and do it. You're gonna hate yourself, but do it if you feel like you have to. It's not the end of the world, and then just do it, you know, get back to it. Or that I'm a lazy keto or whatever, or they just don't like my face. But I really don't like when people try to be snarky and bossy and, you know, act like, oh, there's rules here. There's really not any rules. You eat what you want to eat, and the more success you want, the tighter you pull your bootstraps, you know? So anyway, about that, there are a lot of people who will tell you not to eat low carb tortillas. They're a staple in our house. We use them on a weekly basis. And so I don't want to discount the fact that we pretty regularly have open-faced quesadillas, I would call them, because we only use one tortilla when we do it, and load the ingredients on top. That's probably technically a tostada, whatever. And we make pizzas on the tortillas also. We use it as a shell. If you put olive oil on both sides and you flip it a few times in the pan or in the oven and crisp it up really well, and then put your toppings on top, that didn't take a lot of time. The ingredients were inexpensive and it was satisfying. If you get the Mission low carb tortillas that are the whole grain style, I find mine at Target. They are, I think, whole grain or whatever, the wheat. They're 4 grams of net carbs per serving. I think that's really decent, and it's fewer carbs and a lot less work and a lot less disappointment in some cases than homemade keto-friendly pizza crusts. So that's just my opinion. If you're more likely to have success because of it, and if you feel like you could hurt somebody for some pizza, just make a low carb tortilla pizza and go to bed happy, and think about all those bitter, sour, rotten people on the internet who are you know, who would love to say nasty things to you about it. I don't know. I just don't understand. I think they're probably just hungry. So that's just my 2 cents. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have questions for me, let me know. I will have a list of this stuff in the description box below the video. I'm not a big recipe follower, macro counter. I don't do any of that stuff usually. So, you know, if there are things I mentioned that you want to make, Google is your friend, and Suzanne's book, Simply Keto. It's fantastic. Everything I've made out of it so far has been a complete winner. All right, guys, I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.